God be with you, lad. What can I do for you?
Sir, this investigation into the Neuhof massacre, it's getting a bit complicated.
What have you found out?
I tracked down a gang of robbers who recruited killers for Pribyslavitz. They know the whoresons who torched Neuhof.
That's excellent news. Did you find out any more?
So far, not much. If I'm going to infiltrate them, I have to do what they say. That means murdering one of their former cronies, a fellow they call Pius. Apparently he was at Neuhof too.
You have to kill a criminal to prove yourself to them? Huh. I don't much like the sound of it.
That's not the worst of it. This Pius is hiding out in the monastery pretending to be a novice. I'd have to get inside the cloisters to get at him.
Good God above, that's another matter entirely. They don't let just anyone into the cloisters, and the abbot won't give up any of the novices. Secular law has no jurisdiction inside the monastery. But this is the second time that something untoward has happened there. First the counterfeiters, now this. I'd be glad to have someone take a look inside.
It seems like the only way to find Pius is to join the order. Damned if I know how, though.
A bit of meditation and learning would do you good. If it's really the only way to get to him, then you'll have to do it. I'm sorry I can't be of much help. Sadly, my relations with the monastery aren't entirely congenial. You'll have to figure something out for yourself.
What should I do with Pius once I find him?
Don't kill him. Bring him to the bailiff in Ratte. He'll interrogate the man and give him a fair trial.
It doesn't sound like an easy task, sir. Getting into the cloisters, finding Pius, and then getting him to the bailiff.
Far from it, lad. But I have confidence in your abilities. See you later.
Greetings, good knight. How may I serve you?
You wouldn't be Carl by any chance?
No. God be with you. I hope I can be a...
You wouldn't be Carl by...
No. Goodbye. God sake.
You wouldn't be...
No. See you later. She'll be here in a moment. Greetings, good night.
A meal to go
How
with
may I
the
serve
ale,
you?
please?
Here, just as you ordered.
Are you Carl by any chance?
I am. Why do you ask?
I've heard that you're bound for the monastery.
Yes.
Coming.
Yes, it's true. But I've convinced my faithful guardian, Manfred, to give me a few more days of freedom. Mind you, he won't let me visit the brothel. So instead, I'm devoting those days to the demon drink. With whom do I have the honor of speaking?
My name is Henry.
Pleased to meet you, Henry.
Let's have a drink.
A man after my own heart. The drink's on me. And will my guardian angel here join us in imbibing? No, he will not. Perish the thought. My dear, dear lad, what a cross I have to bear. You know, after the tavern, we should pay a visit to some whores. But Manfred won't let me. Get rid of him. Good luck, then.
A tankard of ale for me.
God save you. What can I do for you?
You're Manfred, the...
Indeed I am.
I've been looking for you two for quite some time. I've been sent by the young lord's father with a message intended only for him.
Has my lord changed his mind at the last minute? Who are you? I've never seen you before. You look trustworthy enough. I'll leave you two alone for a little while. Goodbye.
One beer for me.
I've only got
A
two
tankard of ale
hands.
for me.
Manfred's taken care of.
Thank God. He won't let me out of his sight for a second, and he's itching to get me in the monastery so he can head back home.
Why are you being sent to the monastery?
Enjoy it.
Like every lusty young lad, I'm fond of fair maidens, but I got too fond of one, and let's just say she was, indisposed for 9 months.
But they don't send you to the monastery for that.
They do when it's the daughter of the Lord of your feet.
Shit.
To the women! God bless them.
Shit is putting it mildly. The Lord of Bukova was less than pleased. He knows he'll never marry off his daughter now, so he gave father a choice. Either pay him 1,000 groschen in compensation, along with my balls on a silver platter, or pay 1,000 groschen and put me away somewhere no one will ever see me again.
Why does your guardian never leave your side?
So I don't run away. Of course, I'm free to walk around, but he watches every step I take and won't stop until I'm behind the monastery walls.
Well, he's not watching you now.
What good is that to me when he has all the money, and even my saddle and riding cloak under lock and key?
Why don't you just run away?
Bare-arsed. What the hell would I do? I don't know how to work, I have no money, and that old bastard's even taken my cloak. He has me in the palm of his hand.
But there are poor people everywhere and they get by somehow.
If I have to choose between hunger and poverty on one hand and the monastic life on the other, I'm afraid the monastery wins. If I could only steal that old man's pouch, I'd be gone faster than lightning and no one would ever see me again.
Ale as usual.
That's all then.
Take care.
What? I'll have a beer.
That's right.
Here you are. Good health.
I'd like to speak to you,
What's on your mind?
but he doesn't want to be a...
I know. Unfortunately, there's no other way. You see, he gave the Lord of Bukova an unwanted grandchild. He can count himself lucky he wasn't castrated straight away.
But normally you just need to pay some form of compensation for that sort of offence, don't you?
Yes, 1,000 groschen. But a boy would keep chasing after women, and who knows how it would all end. The monastery really is the safest place for him.
Thanks.
Good luck then.
What?
That's right. There's another thing. That's all then.
See you later.
I've got what you need.
Excellent. Give me the purse.
Here you are.
Good luck, no matter what you plan on doing with those monks. Best be on your way now before Manfred finds out that he's been robbed.
And what are you going to do?
Get my things together and disappear. I want to be as far away as possible before that old man even knows I'm gone. Good luck then.
I'm Carl.
We expected you sooner. Weren't you supposed to come here with your guardian? It's been so hectic lately, people will keep turning up out of the blue.
He gave me the papers and left me at the gate. You must be used to that, though. I'm not the first novice here, am I?
But that wasn't very considerate of him, was it? It's been so hectic here lately, novices arriving one after the other. The last one didn't even have a letter, and you'd think his backside was on fire, the way he kept looking over his shoulder.
You took him without the letter? You didn't find that suspicious?
My guess is he wanted to hide from someone, but he's a priest and knows how things work in the monastery. So there was nothing to prevent him from being accepted, at least temporarily. You're a different case, though. Are you able to read?
Naturally. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
So then, are you ready to enter the Order of Saint Benedict and renounce forever the temptations of this world?
I am.
Then you must rid yourself of all your worldly possessions. Sell them or give them to the poor and needy or donate them to the monastery. You may not enter this place burdened by worldly goods. Inside the gatehouse is a trunk in which you will find monk's robes. Put away all your possessions and dress yourself in the habit. Then you may rest a while I go and see the prior to arrange matters for your acceptance. Farewell.
Strange feeling being without all of that. I didn't realise how much I'd grown used to it.
Everything's prepared. It's time for you to take your vows.
Do I really have to wear this?
You'd better get used to it. You'll be wearing it for the rest of your life.
Brothers in Christ, we have gathered here today to welcome a new novice into our midst. Dear brother, forget your former life and embrace your new vocation in the community of the monks of St. Benedict. Opus Dei, obedientia, obprobria, the service of God, obedience, and endurance of all discomfort. These are the cornerstones and succor of our order, which on this day shall become your own. Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum et vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Suscipe me, Domine, secundum in loquium tuum vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Accept your new name, Brother Gregor, and wear it with honor. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
I'm being punished. If it were up to me, I'd still be spending my days in taverns and my nights with whores.
I don't envy you. Unfortunately, you're here for the rest of your life.
Would you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a novice and I'm here because I'd make a poor merchant. I like books and I want an education. Although I must say, so far the monastic life's been quite unexpected.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening so you know how things work. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we... Remember one word: discipline. It's your job to work and pray. You serve the Lord now, not your own bodily needs. Peace be with you, brother.
Peace be with you.
This is the way to the dormitory, where we all sleep. You'll find a free bed there, which is now yours. Do you know the first thing the monastery taught me? To appreciate sleep. We rise before dawn every day. Takes a bit of getting used to. This is the garden, a place for silent contemplation and meditation. Centuries ago, this monastery was founded by the most esteemed of brothers, Saint Procopius. His earthly remains can be found in a cave under the monastery, and his spirit wanders the corridors at night, punishing any misbehaving novices. So beware. Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren, and above us monks are the prior and the circators, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. This is the refectory, where we come together to eat. During meals, you must be silent. Only one brother reads aloud from the Rule of Saint Benedict.
The rule is the only law we recognize, with the exception of those from God himself. If you break any of its precepts, expect a swift punishment. But I've already told you about the circuitors. The library, the pride of our monastery, a trove of learning. We don't just read books here, we also copy them. You too will learn how.
And that's all. Today you are still free from duty. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We'll be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's not much to tell. I lived in Vlachim, and after my father died, I found out I wasn't much of a merchant. So I left the shop to my brother and decided to become a monk. It's peaceful here. There's food and lots of time to read.
So you chose to come here?
It may seem strange, but I'm one of the few novices that did. I might be the only one. The truth is, the idea of spending my life in a monastery was more appealing than being cooped up in a greasy old shop.
I'd like to ask you something about the Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about
work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
What are the roles?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
Forbidden books
You're
must be
interested
in
in
that
what's
cabinet.
inside? Forbidden books, written by the devil himself. Forget about them.
Salve Domini.
We were no different.
I'm Gregor.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nevlas, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life, and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left. But I want change.
I'm interested in the...
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that, they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
You can count on my help.
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now you know most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book was the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Celerius could help.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Celerius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Here's the book you wanted.
Amazing. This really is it. Now I can use it to prepare a cure for our suffering abbot. Then I'll leave it in the library to make it seem as if Brother Librarian left it lying about. There'll be no investigation. It would be against his best interests, as he'll look like the one who wasn't taking proper care of the books. It will drive him mad. I didn't leave that book out, or did I? Is there anything I can...
I'd be interested in finding out the background of the other novices.
That's a strange wish you have. And the only ones who know everything about the novices are the abbot and the prior. They keep a record of every monk in the abbot's book, but you'll never get your hands on it. It's locked up in the prior's study.
Thanks. You've helped me immensely.
No, thank you. About that book, don't even think about breaking in to get it.
I'm interested in the election of...
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says that he who is without... I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sin.
Tell me something about...
A new abbot has to be elected once the old one dies. All the brethren can vote, with the exception of novices. The abbot's crozier will be conferred on whoever is chosen, and he'll take the vow. When he becomes abbot, a monk spends most of his time dealing with politics outside the monastery, instead of actually leading the monastery. But he still maintains a fundamental influence on life here.
I'd be interested to know more about Brother John.
I don't like to speak ill of people, but Circuitor John is the worst person the monks could pick to represent them. He's nothing but an old schemer and pedant who preaches water but drinks wine. He's won the older brethren over because they know he won't call an end to their debauchery.
Why do you want to...
Because when I see the way things are headed around here, I have no other option. Itinerant preachers speak of the corrupted black heart of the church, and I can't deny there's truth in what they say. I'd like to change things and bring back meaning and esteem to the monastery.
That's all.
Peace be with you, brother.
Ah, this looks like the Saracen language. Ib al-Hassan. That's who I'm looking for. Avicenna.
It looks like I found a little monastic treasure trove. I wonder who stashed that here.
Praise be to Christ.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
The words mean nothing to me. Ask in the library.
I'm Gregor and
I know. I saw you in the church during the ceremony. I have a feeling we'll be meeting again soon. And often. You see, I'm a Sacator.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything is the way it should be.
And when it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Oh, Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always travelling on. On top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps the good Lord will bless him with many more years of life.
And what happens when the old abbot dies?
Well, then we elect a new one.
Tell me something about...
Prayer?
Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, St. Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world, beyond the monastery walls, is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, the grass is just as green. Perhaps the ruler's changed, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged throughout the ages.
I'm interested in the monastery.
Well, it was founded by St. Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place for some time. But then the order was restored and the brothers of the true faith returned.
Heretics?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals, in a language foreign to God. They were driven away, and their books burnt.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior, the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the cicadas. They're the ones who...
What can you tell me about the novices here?
And what can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God.
I meant something specific.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager, perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
About you?
Ask me anything you...
Tell me something
Nevertheless is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned. Nevertheless is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are benefits for himself and his cronies.
Thank you for answering.
Talk to me, brother.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout, "Vote for Neverless, vote for Neverless"?
Not exactly.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother. Just like you and everyone else here. We're all brothers in Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know about.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong, then my promises are just empty slogans.
Very good then. I'll find out what I can.
Thank you, brother.
What do you desire?
I'd like to... Greetings, brother.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
I'm interested in the other novices. Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray your confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't.
I'm just interested.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in it. Don't you start too.
I'd like to ask you something. Well, that's all. I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. It was hard.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
I
mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on. Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer, not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
I'd like to ask you something about... Well, that's all. My name's Gregor.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although, it's not important. Welcome to Purgatory.
Did you say Purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me, in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed, sir.
What about the dagger?
That's a memento of better times. Father gave me that when I was a little lad. And it's done right by me more than once, when I got drunk somewhere with the wrong sort of people.
Do you know how to fight?
And how? Boozing and brawling. God, how I miss that here.
Tell me more about the book.
I found it here in the library. It was on a shelf where it should never have been. So I hid it to read later. It's the Necronomicon. Ghosts, demons, and invocations of powers beyond our world. Only it's written in a strange language that I can't really make sense of. All bara this and bara that. Who knows what it means? I tried to count the syllables, read the words backwards, but nothing. I'm not getting anywhere with it.
Oh, I'm not too sure what the prior or the cicator would say about a book like that. Actually, what anyone would say. It sounds quite prohibited.
Prejudice. But you're right, it is prohibited. For no good reason, though. Has knowledge ever done anybody any harm?
You're right. Knowledge should...
I'm glad you agree. Just take a look at the book. Maybe you'll be able to make some sense of it. I haven't grasped a single syllable. Just please don't tell anyone about the book. If the brothers learn that I took it from the library and hid it, I'll be in a lot...
What kind of a book is it?
I found it here in the library. It was on a shelf where it should... It's the Necronom... Who knows?
Oh.
Just...
Actually, I don't care. God save. How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
It occurred to me you might be the man to ask. I'm looking for some lockpicks. Do you know anyone in the monastery who could help me?
Lockpicks, eh? I won't ask what for. My advice is to try Brother Solarius.
I'd like to ask... Well, that's all.
Can't sleep and prays long into the night.
It's a mystery, but one that'll be soon solved. So when the prior doesn't check everyone's breath in the morning, then he'd soon get his man.
You've seen us drinking here, so either join in or swear you won't tell a soul. You won't want to end up like Lucas now, would you?
All right. I wouldn't mind some wine.
That's more like it. Sit down and have a drink, my lad. Quite right, brother. Just sit down and drink with us. When the wine runs out, Yorick will fetch more. What would you like?
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
What are you doing here?
What does it look like?
But we're all monks.
Youngster, when you're as old as I, you'll understand.
But you're the cicators. You're the ones meant to be keeping order here. How can gambling and drinking be a fitting part of a monk's life?
If you really want to know, see for yourself.
All right, have it.
What troubles you?
Where'd you get the wine from? I thought the monastery cellars were guarded.
So they are. But this wine isn't from the monastery. Listen, lad, would you help us out with something? This cask is almost empty and we need a new one. We're a bit old for such exertions, but you, on the other hand...
I'll help you. What do I need to do?
Ha! I knew it! Help Novice Yorick arrange for a new cask. Talk to him first thing in the morning, and by tomorrow night, the cask can be on the table.
All right, I'll talk to him. You mentioned Yodok. What does he do for you?
Well, nothing much. He's just a little suckling like you. He'll do whatever it takes to stay on our good side. Sometimes we make use of him when there are errands to run.
Let's play!
Just the man we've been waiting for.
Ah, Gregor.
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book. Do you know what it is?
It appears to be a page torn out of Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who. Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them vanished one day. Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature.
If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely. Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place in the library.
Good. I'll look around for it.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great importance, but if you can find all 10 pages, I'll be most grateful.
Can you tell me something about the book?
The Art of Love is a sort of manual instructing young people how to find and maintain love. It's a lovely work. I don't understand what bothered Eustace so much about it, but as I was saying, he considered the book to be immoral and tore it up to stop it corrupting any of his brothers.
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices in the library?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such records.
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he and the prior are permitted to read them.
I'd like to ask you something about the
The rule of Saint Benedict. Reading.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot,
I'm looking for something a little, unorthodox.
And what?
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lockpicks? And what would you like those for?
I'd like to practice opening locks, just for the fun of it.
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have a few lockpicks left. I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I?
and let him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders.
What do you desire?
But, since he has the authority, let him cut out those faults by the roots as soon as...
You have some interesting skills for a monk. Don't suppose you want to tell me how you pick them up?
What's there to tell? We were all young and foolish once. I was a student in Prague, completely broke, living from hand to mouth and studying all day. It wasn't an easy life.
So you turned to stealing?
I set about securing a livelihood as best I could. A goose, some new shoes, a bit of coin to spend with my friends. Without that little bit extra, I'd never have completed my studies. I would have turned into a beggar. And who else do you know that can say he's serving God thanks to having been a thief?
No one, brother. Thank you.
This is the virtue of those who hold nothing dearer to them than...
I'm looking for some...
And what?
I need to get some wine.
You're not the only one. But I have to keep records of all the casks, and the prior checks on them. He'd notice any loss straight away. Just like our food, everything's rationed. So I'm sorry, but I'll have to disappoint you, brother.
No, nothing really.
Only if what is commanded is done without hesitation. Delay, lukewarmness.
What would you like?
I was talking last night with the brother Cicators. It seems you're to fetch them a cask of wine. Like last time.
Well... Yes, it's true.
I'd like to help you.
To get hold of the wine, we'll have to leave the monastery for a bit. I know it's forbidden, but we've no other option. If wine started going missing here, someone would notice. But to leave the monastery, we need the keys. And only the prior has those.
Wait a moment. Are you saying I'm supposed to steal the prior's keys so I can go and steal wine somewhere else?
You see why I don't want to do it myself now, do you? I don't have what it takes. I can't get those keys, but you could. Or you might be able to pick the locks.
But you've done it once before, haven't you?
Last time the prior was sick, and he left the monastery keys in the Circator's care. So they unlocked the gates for me. This time we'll have to steal the keys.
How can I get hold of the keys, do you think?
I don't know, but it might be possible to do this without them. Brother Celerius, the cellar keeper, used to be a burglar.
Do you think he'll want to take...
No, but he could give some advice, or maybe get some lockpicks to open the gate. You'll figure something out.
If you think so, I can try.
Once you have the key or some lockpicks, come and see me and we'll make our plan.
About those keys.
Did you get them? Keys? Or at least lockpicks?
Yes, I have.
In that case, come before midnight to the cloister garden. I'll be waiting for you there, and we'll head off.
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot...
In the night, I overheard the cicadas in the cellar. They were talking about you.
Oh no. So it's still not over. This isn't a life in service of God. This is purgatory.
Lucas, what's going on?
What do you think? Just like you, I saw the cicadas drinking and playing hazard as if they were in a brothel.
We'd be safer not to get mixed up in the affairs of our superior brethren.
You're probably right. But I was naive and hoped I could fix things.
I warned them if they didn't stop, I'd go and tell the prior. But instead of mending their ways, they vented their anger on me.
You've picked the wrong people to make enemies of, Lucas, they told me. Now I can't even count how many days and nights I've spent locked up in solitary confinement for the tiniest offences, or for no offence at all.
Is there something I can do to help?
Would you? I think all it might take is for you to go and sit down with them. Have a talk, set things straight, then they'd leave me alone. But I'm afraid even this path leads nowhere. They'd probably start hounding you as well.
I'm not afraid of them.
Brother, you have the... May the grace...
Knowing that it is written, the fool is not corrected with words. And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on humility. The first degree of humility is obedience without delay.
What do you do?
This is the virtue of those who hold nothing.
Brother Cicator, my friend.
What would you like? To be relieved from duties?
No, I'm here because of novice Lucas. I've heard there's some discord with him.
Only because that weasel wants to put an end to our nighttime fun. So, we're letting him know who's in charge here.
I'd appreciate it if you...
Well, if he isn't afraid of us, there's nothing to stop him ratting us out. But what do you care anyway? Grown fond of him, have you?
He hates you because you trample all over him and he has nothing to lose. If you show him just a bit of kindness, he'll think again about taking you on. You'll see.
Fine, you've convinced me. Beware of Lucas.
What do you mean?
He's a sodomite, a sinner. He might try to get you into the habit, or out of it.
I didn't know that.
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot...
I spoke to the cicadas about how they've been treating you.
Really? Did you manage to convince them to leave me alone?
But you have to promise not to tell anyone what you saw them doing. Then they'll leave you alone.
That's a promise I'd be glad to make. I'm forever in your debt, brother. Because now I know I can trust you. There's something I want to tell you. It's about Brother Antonius. I wouldn't like to say something that isn't true. God forbid I should cause harm by my words, but this is something I'm sure of. Novice Antonius is lying to us.
What makes you say that?
He claims he's a merchant's son from Vlaching, and that he joined the order voluntarily. The thing is, I spent a great deal of time in Vlaching. I know it like the back of my...
Are you sure?
It's true, or Canute isn't my name. That would be my secular name, by the way, but that's not important. I know Vlasher, and I know the local merchants there, and I've never seen Antonius among them. Why would he be lying if he had nothing to hide?
Thank you for telling me. I'll look into it.
But bold, hard, proud, and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning of their ill-doing by stripes and other bodily punishments, knowing that it is written, "The fool is not corrected with words." And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the spirit of silence. Let us do what the prophet says. I said,
Will you tell me? I mean, where you... Come on.
I could, but what has been isn't in...
Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times.
I've heard that you, well, that you enjoy the company of men. Is there any truth to it?
What? How do you know that?
The cicadas told me.
They'll never leave me in peace. Yes, you can call me a sodomite, a sinner, a monster, the spawn of Satan. But tell me this, Gregor. Can I help the way I am? I tell you, it's a test of my faith. A test so daunting you can't even imagine it.
You're right. I found it interesting, but I'm not judging you. You are the way you are. You should be true to yourself.
I'm glad you aren't like the others. Thank you for not passing judgment. I swear to God, I've never lain with another man. I've never sinned. When my father wanted me to find a wife and start a family, I told him the truth, and he had me sent here. And in a way, I was glad. My guilt had been consuming me, and I knew in the monastery I'd find peace. The Lord sees my soul, and he knows it's pure.
I said, I will guard my way, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humbled and kept...
Talk to me.
I found a few pages of...
Wonderful.
The Rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the spirit of silence.
What is it, brother?
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Concoct 2 buck's blood potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Talk to me.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you... Brother, what will become of you? Oh, well, perhaps tomorrow you'll do better.
What is it?
I'm here to work.
Good. This is most likely the first time you've ever done this in your life. But it's easier than you think. Just a bit of practice and learning Latin. Here's the original, and here are the blank parchments on which you'll copy what you read in the original. Is that clear? Then you may begin, and try not to make a mess of it. I can hardly believe it.
What do you desire?
I'm Gregor.
I know. But I've no time for idle chat.
What, you do nothing else?
It is my penance and my blessing. And now... What do you desire?
Here I am.
You're late. But perhaps once we're outside we'll need to be careful and we'll need to be quick. If we're not back before sunrise, someone will realise we've gone and there'll be hell to pay.
Where exactly are we going?
Next to the monastery is the house of the custodian, a baron who provides military protection to the monastery. We'll take the wine from him.
How do we do that once we're there? Will we need to break it?
We needn't break in anywhere. It's on the ground floor and usually unlocked. It holds supplies for the whole craftsman's yard, and every now and again someone comes in to fetch something. The only thing we have to make sure is that nobody sees us.
What
They want some Znaimo wine. But there's no way we'll be able to tell what's what. We'll just grab a cask and head off. I doubt the custodian would have anything of poor quality in his cellar.
The brothers will complain.
They'll complain even more if they've nothing to drink.
Why go to all that trouble? Aren't the monastery wine cellars full?
They are. But Brother Celerius keeps records of all the casks, and the prior checks them. They'd investigate if any went missing. Whereas, if someone outside loses the odd cask, they're not going to suspect us monks.
That does sound... I'm ready.
All right.
say one thing. Brother Nevlis says that you didn't finish your work in the herb room. Have you lost your taste for honest labour?
I was feeling a bit queasy.
Really? I'll pretend nothing happened.
I'd like to ask...
You're a fine fellow. Show us what you've been hiding.
Turnipy nose with just the slightest hint of rat droppings. Not too lardy like the last one. Nice sharp elbows. It's not Olomouc, nor Znoimo either. But as John says...
Gregor.
Drinkable enough. Thank you, brothers. And now sit down and share a cup with us.
What's there left to drink to?
To our fresh young novices, our swift steeds, and our boundless cellars.
You and your novices, you old pervert. A toast to our future abbot.
I'll drink to that. So, to John, the future abbot, and a pox on Nevlis.
That killjoy? He'd love to have us all under his thumb. Fat chance.
Don't worry. Those youngsters will wise up once they hear all about him.
Will they believe it?
Even if just 2 or 3 of them do, it'll help us. So, to Abbot John.
To Abbot John.
Praise be to Christ.
What trouble?
Let's play!
Just the man.
What have we here? That's it. The book with information about the novices. Interesting. But I still don't know which one of them is pious.
I'm a new brother, a novice, Gregor. I don't know my way around here yet. You're in charge of the whole monastery, aren't you?
Welcome amongst us. Yes, yes. The Lord wanted me to take over the abbot's duties in his absence, but mainly I'm a servant of God, just like you and all the other brethren. Before God, there's no difference between us. How do you like it here?
It's wonderful.
I'm glad to hear it.
I'd like to ask you something about... Will you tell me something?
Of course. Abbot Peter is old, and we're afraid he'll soon be with our Heavenly Father. When he's gone, someone else will have to lead the monastery. All the elder brothers will assemble to choose who that is.
Anyone can become the abbot?
Precisely. We have two candidates, Nevlas and John. As the spiritual shepherd of all of the brothers here, I'm not allowed to publicly express a preference for either. I know that some brothers have already begun scheming, but don't even think about getting...
And for such conversation, we do not...
What would you like?
I'm here to...
Excellent. Today, once you finish... What
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. What would you like?
I've discovered something about the wrongs being
I see.
The circators go into the cellar at...
I thought so. John always reeks of it. And he wants to be abbot. Hypocrite. Perhaps if you told the prior, that would clip John's wings.
The older brothers are picking on novice Lucas, punishing him.
It seems that now even brothers can't avoid worldly evil. Thank you for the information. And if you can, stand up for him. The older brothers are also out to get me. Any action I take, they'll try to use against me.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me.
Ah.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. Can you read at all? I've never...
Talk to me, brother.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
I've heard you're from Vlashim.
Yes, why do you ask? And more importantly, where did you hear it? Since I'm quite sure I've never told you. Honestly,
Because I've heard otherwise. You aren't from Vlashim. You made it all up.
And who told you that? Whoever it was, he's a liar. It's complete nonsense. I'm no priest, but tell me what you've done.
I'm here in the monastery looking for a thief.
You don't say.
That's not important.
Why are you telling me this any...
Perhaps you could help me find...
The missing thief. If I knew anything, I'd tell you, but I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident. All the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know. Aside from me, there are...
3? Please, leave me out. No one knows anything about Lukas. Siskin might be a lot of things, but a monk isn't one of them. And Yodok is a slimy worm. It wouldn't surprise me if he was behind that massacre. Actually, the more I think about it, the less I like that Yodok. He's a treacherous rat who'd do anything to get in someone's good books. The thought of Yodok at Neuhof sends chills up my spine.
I don't think it was him. But please, don't tell a soul what we've been talking about.
Don't fret, my friend. Your secret...
Praise be to Christ.
Listen, there's something I ought to tell you. There's a dangerous criminal hiding in the monastery, and I came here to look for him.
Ha! I knew it! He's a villain. It's better not to ask, isn't it? It's always safer not to ask.
Never mind that.
That's Siskin. I always thought he was an odd one, the way he carries on. But now it makes perfect sense. He's a criminal fleeing justice.
What are you talking about? You clearly know something I don't.
Siskin doesn't attend morning prayers. Look for yourself next time you're there. Instead of praising God, he's up to God knows what.
Thanks for letting me know, but that's not what I meant.
You think so? He definitely acts like...
That's what I'm trying to find.
What are you going to...
That's not your concern.
You should talk to the circators or the prior about it. Not act on your own.
What would you like?
I've discovered something about the...
I see.
Brother Yodok has been stealing wine for the...
Yodok? Well, that little rat...
From the cellar of a low-ranking vassal outside the monastery walls.
Clever. A custodian would never suspect anyone in the monastery. And no one here would suspect monks were drinking secretly when no wine's missing. Thank you, brother. Could you please inform the prior? If I were to do it, they'd cry false accusations.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else...
Ah, Gregor.
I know you're pious. The man I've been looking for.
So you're finally sure? Tell me, Gregor, or Carl, or whatever your true name is. What do you want to do now?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I should do.
Well, at least you're prepared to think and not just play bloodhound for a pack of nobodies. And I'm glad you have your doubts.
I don't want to be like the people I'm looking for. If I have to kill, it should be for a reason, not because I enjoy it.
You know, we're both pawns in someone else's game. They have plans for us. But we don't have to let them use us. We can just forget all about it and go our own way. I was a bandit, and I was at Nyhoff. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Nyhoff made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery I've had plenty of time to think things over, but then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. What exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace, and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
You're right. But the people who sent me will find out if I don't kill you.
They won't if we're clever about it. No one has to die. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away...
Good. Let's do it.
Good. I'm glad that despite our initial discord, we could reach an agreement. Here, take something to calm your stomach. Now we'll need the keys to the monastery and some blood to make the tracks.
What are you going to do?
I need to get ready for a long journey. Prepare supplies, get some normal clothing somehow, that sort of thing. You can escape in that habit, but I need to vanish as fast as I can.
What do I need the keys to the monastery for?
How else will we get out? This place is practically a prison.
Do you mean these keys?
What? I'm not going to ask you how you got your hands on those, you
Devious lad.
And where am I supposed to get my hands on blood in a monastery?
You'll find a parchment in the kitchen with a list of ingredients on it. All the things they're ordering. Add blood for making soup to the list. And when it's delivered the next day, take it before anyone notices it's even come.
All right, that's everything I need to know.
Excellent. Come and see and Gregor.
Talk to me.
I'm here to...
Excellent.
Well done, brother. No mistakes.
Peace be with you. Praise be to God. For a moment there I was worried you weren't coming. Give me that blood. This is the exact spot where you pushed me off the gallery. Praise be to Christ, brother. And here's where you dragged my lifeless body. Thank you for helping me out.
I was glad to help. I did what I needed to do and no one got killed. What will you do now?
Now, hell out of here. Steal the first horse I come across and ride until dawn, far, far away from here. I was thinking... Here, take this. Show it to those cutthroat bastards and tell them you found it on me. That should convince them. Especially when they hear about the outcry here after the fires found out we've gone.
Your lucky die?
In a manner of speaking. Hope it brings you more luck than it brought me. Thank you. Thank you for letting me live, Brother Gregor.
My name's Henry.
All right, Brother Henry. May God be with you.